back to the Truth Serum Football. It's Jordan and Travis here again. Travis, say what's up to the fam.
Woo! Wait!
Yeah, there it is. That's the only
Let's
way to
fucking
say
get it.
hello. How are you
Let's,
doing tonight?
I'm doing fucking fantastic, baby. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
looks like it. It looks like it. I'm doing pretty damn good myself. If you've been tuning in, you probably caught our episode last week with the preview of the NFC North. This week we are switching over and doing the AFC North. So if you haven't already, bang that bell at the bottom and hit subscribe. And yeah, anything else before we dive in here and talk about the AFC North, baby?
I just want to say, like Mr. Fickle says, we love all you motherfuckers.
All of you, every last one of you. Oh hell yeah, I love it. I love it. And man, you guys should come see us. I think me and Mr. Sumter are going to be out at the old Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio. So yeah, come see us. Let's go have a beer. I would love to meet each and every one of you that I haven't already, and I would like to meet most of you guys again, except maybe the one that shit in the basket. Just saying.
Shit Basket Gate 2022.
Woo! All right, all right. So speaking of shit baskets, let's get started and talk about this AFC North. So, uh, not really, but I guess it did end on a sour note last year, even though the Bengals kind of made that miracle run to the Super Bowl. So, how you feeling about them Cincinnati Bengals defending their AFC championship crown?
Man, the team that was plus 15,000 in betting odds last year. Ooh, man, I wish I would have had a piece of that one.
Just a
Uh,
little nibble.
ugh. Ooh. So they one of the big question marks that they had all along, all last year, even during the Super Bowl, was about this offensive line. They've done a lot to rectify that. Uh, Bringing in Leo Collins, Alex Kappa, and Ted Karras. Uh, let's talk about it a little bit. What are your thoughts on it?
So I'm not going to pretend to be an offensive lineman expert. I probably can't tell you loads and loads of things about Kappa and Karras, but I'll tell you what. Lyle Collins is that dude. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching that guy play over the years for my Dallas Cowboys. I think he will be a big addition. And here's what I love most about Lyle Collins, right? Joe Burrow was sacked 1 billion times last year, got sacked 7 times in the Super Bowl and like 6,000 in the regular season and playoffs. Like he was always on the ground constantly. Lyle Collins is that guy that if you put his quarterback on his ass and even looks a little bit hurt, he will be up in your face. That guy's been suspended. He'll throw a punch. He's a dog, and he defends his quarterback like no other. I hate that he's gone from Dallas. He will make a hell of addition to this Cincinnati Bengals offensive front, I think.
Yeah, keeping Joe Burrow upright is definitely a huge addition.
Should
Yeah,
pay
and
dividends as well for Joe Mixon, who already and man, let's even keep it real, man. Samaje Perine back from the dead in this Cincinnati Bengals offense, man. That guy had some pop when he got to play last year too. So I'd love this. I'm really looking forward to seeing both of these running backs. Samaje obviously not in a fantasy setting, but more just out of a hey, that guy's still around type of way. But I'm excited to see what they can do behind this revamped O line.
yeah, and one of the players too, their third running back, Chris Evans. I keep my eye on him too in like deeper leagues, kind of, if you're looking to stash somebody away, because I think he could get some playing time if some whatever happened to Mixon, but Mixon's locked in. He's locked in, top 5 RB. There's no
I
question about
I
it.
took a lot of flack last year, and I had a lot of shares of Joe Mixon from my second round, and one of the
You
best
you
picks I made all
you
season.
you don't know nothing about Flack until you get fucking dogged on by Stefania fucking Bell on Twitter for
Whoo!
defending Joe Mixon last year, right?
Stefania Bell!
I still love her.
I
It's
love me
alright.
some Stefania Bell too. Stefania, if you're listening, hey girl. Mm. That's beautiful. I didn't know that story. That's awesome. I would probably tell everybody that upon meeting them if that had happened to me. So, I don't like to twiddle my tweeter box, but I might start if I might be able to get Stephania Bell in my mentions. Okay, so outside of that, the Bengals did not make a whole lot of noise this offseason. I think everything else is kind of business as usual. They got Jamar Chase, they got T. Higgins. They did get Daxton Hill, Cam Taylor Britt, so they definitely tried to reinforce that secondary in the draft season. But what do you think these guys' chances of let's not even say Super Bowl. What do you think these guys' chances of are taking this division next season?
I think the division is going to be a little tougher than what it was last year. I feel like this team could possibly take a step back this year. I don't like. I know a lot of people are kind of on this hype of this team's going to be locked and loaded, and it's going to be this team's going to be unstoppable. I'm kind of giving them just a tad bit of pushback on it. Like I feel like there are some games this team's still going to lose, just like they did last year, where they games they should have won. And they're going to win games they shouldn't win. I feel like they're just going to kind of be in that mix, right? I feel like they're good enough to be a playoff team, though. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is low key one of the tougher divisions in football next year. There's a lot of stuff up in the air, but I think there's some talent in this division. Let's move on. So, um, Cleveland Browns, no more Baker Mayfield, future superstar quarterback of the Chicago Bears. He's no longer going to be their quarterback one. They were the winners of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So, how do you think Deshaun Watson is going to plug into this offense, and when do you think he plays?
I think he plays right away. I think I don't like as far as everything that I've been hearing from recent news reports, unless we find out something different after this recording, is that maybe the NFL doesn't even finish wrapping this up until after the season. So it could be something where it kind of drags into 2023 more or less. But to me, I think he's going to start right away this season. I think he's going to play all games.
Okay. Okay. So, what do you think the impact? Obviously, they brought him in. They brought in Amari Cooper. He's going to be the wide receiver out there. They've still got Kareem Hunt. They've still got Nick Chubb. How do you feel about the prospects of this team moving forward?
How do you feel about Amari Cooper? After seeing what all these teams got for an elite wide receiver, and you guys traded for what, a 6th round, 5th round?
Here's what I'm going to say. All right. Dallas got fleeced.
Hey,
Bad
you
on
were
that
dogging
trade.
me on the Bears the other day or
Yeah,
last
no,
week.
no, no. I get it. I get it.
This
And
is worse. This has got to be worse.
it is, but it isn't, because at the end of the day, right? I do think moving on from Amari Cooper was the right move to make long term for the team. In the short term, it looks like a pretty rough move, right? And we look seriously downgraded at the wide receiver position. But I still wouldn't want to be on the hook paying Amari Cooper $20 million, for the next several years. I think he will ball out with the Browns. I think he'll have a chip on his shoulder. The best Amari Cooper for Dallas was that Amari Cooper that got traded from the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders or the Los Angeles Raiders or whatever the hell they were called back then. That Amari Cooper, when he first came to Dallas, was an absolute force. And I think he's going to have that kind of a chip on his shoulder. I think Deshaun Watson's going to have that chip on his shoulder. I think Amari's going to have a resurgent year, and it hurts to see it. But I still think Dallas made the right call long term. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with it, and if my prediction's right and Deshaun Watson does play, I feel like he does. I feel like he does ball out like you're saying. Like I feel like he is he is that fringe wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, right? He's always kind of been that, right? And
Yeah,
he's
I think he's a lock wide receiver 1 with Deshaun Watson.
I think so too, just because of the lack of weapons around him, right?
Yeah. Watson will feed him, and I expect Watson to pick up right where he left off. And I think he will. I think the Browns win this division. They won it 2 years ago with Baker Mayfield. I think they absolutely win it this season with Deshaun Watson. Legal and suspension type trouble withstanding.
Yeah, and I feel like they're going to lean a lot more on Nick Chubb this year than they did last year's, especially towards the end of the year where they kind of faded away from Nick Chubb for a little bit. And then they also got Kareem Hunt. They're going to have him right and fully healthy too. It should be a good 1-2 punch, just like it was at the beginning of last year. Just hopefully Deshaun Watson. We're dealing with a lot of variables. Deshaun Watson being healthy, Amari Cooper, seeing what he can bring to the table. You're going to need Deshaun Watson to support him. Both these running backs, staying on the field, being healthy. Their bread and butter is the run game in this offense. Kevin Stefanski is one of the best when it comes to
Run games, offensive line.
When it comes to the run game. So I mean, this is a team that you don't even have to really depend on Deshaun Watson. You just need Deshaun Watson to win you games, right? He could almost be a game manager plus, where he can kind of just stand back, hand the ball off. Kareem Hunt's going to be back there with him. It's going to be fun to watch. This is something Browns fans got excited, when they first had Baker Mayfield and they started being good the prior year. This is going to be something fun for Browns fans to watch. Allegations aside, it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, yep. Donovan Peoples-Jones too. I feel like he might be a good deep stash for your team too as well.
Watson will create weapons.
Yeah, and he's always done that.
Yep. Yeah. It's not like Watson came to. This is Watson's probably most talented offense he's ever had, right? We're talking about a guy who was arguably the top fantasy quarterback last season. This is the best offense he's ever been in, right? Am I missing it there? Am I forgetting something crazy? Yeah, D-Hop.
Outside of D-Hop, but when we're talking about all-around team and talent, defense, offense, his running backs, has he ever had a real elite running back in his backfield? I don't think so.
Carlos Hyde, maybe.
Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller.
Miller, the corpse of Lamar Miller.
He's got 2 elite running backs right now in his backfield. Yeah. I said, this team doesn't have to depend on Deshaun Watson to win games.
It doesn't, and I still think they may get a piece of some kind out of Baker Mayfield from the Chicago Bears. So maybe they get a Byron Pringle or something. Who knows? Add another weapon to this offense. So yeah.
Bears are dumb enough. We'll trade Kmet for him.
Whoo! We didn't even talk about Cole Kmet. I love that guy. We'll have to revisit that at some time on a tight end episode or something. But anyway, we talked about the Browns. They got a new face of the franchise, and well, so did the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time in a long time. So Big Ben is out. What do you think? Who do you think is the starter of Week 17? For
Week 17?
Yeah. Who is the starter last game of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is it going to be Mitchell Trubisky? Is it going to be brand new draft toy Kenny Pickett? Where's this franchise going, Travis? Pick a side and talk to me about it.
History always says that the early pick, the first round QB rookie pick, is going to get a shot at some point in the season. It's usually just kind of proven. But at the other hand, like I've shared with you previously, I think To me, actually, no. I know that Mitchell Trubisky is probably. I give him a lot more credit than probably other people give him. It's not like my Bears bias at all. Like I feel like he is a good quarterback. He can be a good game manager. He's a lot more mobile than Ben Roethlisberger could ever dream to be at this stage. Um, that's going to help the offensive line. That's going to help Najee Harris.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, this man was. I mean, you could talk about him too. I mean, like, what are the
So
things?
So I love the Big Ben take, right? Because Big Ben had this team knocking on the doors of the playoffs, and Big Ben was awful last season, dreadful, one of the worst quarterbacks in football. Mitchell Trubisky might have got this team to the playoffs last year. I think Mitchell Trubisky in his worst form right now is probably better than what Big Ben was at this stage of his career. No disrespect to Ben, he's old, he's done, the arm was gone, right? Mitchell Trubisky's a good quarterback. Well, hold on. I want to say Mitchell Trubisky's a good quarterback, but Mitchell Trubisky showed some flashes, and you see, look, the Falcons are trotting out Marcus Mariota this year, right? Jameis Winston's about to start again for the Saints, and I've defended Winston in the past. Mitchell Trubisky deserves this second shot, man. 34-23 in his career as the Bears starter is pretty damn respectable, if you ask me, especially running the team that was coached by Matt Nagy. Um, Add in the fact that he sat behind Josh Allen for a year, and at the end of the day, he throws more touchdowns and interceptions. I think Mike Tomlin is going to do wonders with this guy. I don't know what happens with this quarterback competition. I think at some point Pickett has to be the guy, and I'll let you tell me all of the good things I should know about Kenny Pickett here in a second. But man, I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to come into this job swinging, and I ain't talking about fists.
Mitchell Trubisky. I think there's if there's one knock that I really have on Mitchell Trubisky, and it's something that you've seen in Chicago, it's his lack of throwing the deep ball, and that's something I'm going to kind of shy away from when it comes to Chase Claypool in the offense, um, or anybody else that's going to run deep routes on this offense. Like that's not the player that you want. I mean, maybe just maybe outside of the possibility that maybe he worked on that when he was under Dable, the offensive coordinator
You
for the
think Josh
Bills.
Allen might have taught him a thing or two? Josh Allen could
Maybe,
get that bitch down the field, boy.
and maybe because we got to remember that one thing about Josh Allen is that prior to having Stephon Diggs in that offense, Josh Allen wasn't seen as somebody that could throw the deep ball with accuracy.
Consistently, yep.
Yep. And now when you think of Josh Allen, he's the best damn QB in football.
He's the guy.
So if we don't think that maybe Josh Allen and the ball had that kind of impact on Mitchell Trubisky, I mean, I don't know what the hell you'd be smoking then.
I really wish DeBall had one more letter in his name, and I wished it was an S. That's all I want to say about that. But so tell me a little bit about Kenny Pickett. Obviously, he's the only quarterback that went in the first round. You're our draft guru around here. So tell me about this kid. What's to love? What's to hate? How do you feel about him?
So he was the all-time leader in yards, completions, and touchdowns over Marino, which is that's a pretty mighty fucking big name if you ask me. I mean, yeah, we know the game's changed and all that.
Nobody else has done it.
He's probably not someone that I really seen as the QB1 of the class when we went into it, and a lot of people knock him for the small hands, but we knew prior to the draft that the Steelers, they wanted to keep the hometown boy, kind of like the Detroit Lions that we talked about last week. They wanted to get Hutchinson in the building. This team wanted to keep Pickett, in the state of Pittsburgh, or state of Pennsylvania. So I mean, like, can this team? There's things I love about Kenny Pickett, and there's things that I hate about Kenny Pickett. I feel like he does get his chance, possibly. Maybe we see it this season. I don't know for sure. I don't really know anything for sure about any of the QBs in this class, right?
I think Kenny Pickett fell into the perfect situation for him to have a shot to succeed. The name me a more steady organization than the Pittsburgh Steelers over our fucking lifetimes, right? Like the Steelers organization figures it out. And I know maybe he lacks some of the attributes that maybe a Malik Willis had, right? Maybe he got some small hands, right? But I think the kid has a shot. I think it's the best situation for him. Um, and I think he doesn't have to be an all-world talent, right? He's got to be good. He can't be Mason Rudolph, right? But he can just be an okay quarterback and have success in the system. So I'm really excited to see what happens, but my 2 cents, I'm holding out for my boy Mitchell Trubisky to take the reins here. So yeah, that leaves us one team in the division. Shout out to my boy Newson, Andrew Newson, my boy Drew Dynamite, Drew Michael Deviney, and all the Ravens Nation. Lamar's coming back. I don't think there's going to be a quarterback controversy. Ravens pick back up. Ravens falling off? Well, where are the Ravens at?
I think they pick right back up where they left off. We're just gonna take all. There's 2021.
Throw that son bitch away.
Swish like Luca. There you go.
Woo!
We're gonna throw that some bitch away. We're gonna head right back into that 1920 season where Lamar was MVP. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's gonna be MVP again this year. I mean, there's gonna obviously be a lot of people coming for that crown this year, but I feel like he can kind of return to form. Yeah, they did lose Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals, which I think was a smart move by the organization to get rid of Hollywood Brown. I think they got excellent return on value for him. They got Rashad Bateman. Okay.
We call him Master Bateman around here.
Oh yeah, Master Bateman. Yeah, for sure. I know all about Master Bateman.
Master Bateman.
No. I wasn't trying to cover it up. We had the tight end one there with Mark Andrews. Yeah, like he was the tight end one last year. I feel like he's still going to receive the majority of the volume in this offense. Outside of that, I mean, the running backs are going to be healthy. We got J.K. Dobbins.
They may be healthy.
Maybe healthy. And we like I talk about it all the time too, like just like I did last week, like somebody coming off their ACL, we usually give them another extra year to recover. I mean, we can see what J.K. Dobbins, maybe he's an outlier, maybe being so young, maybe he recovers more and is ready, because he did hurt himself, preseason to the NFL season. So it did give him a lot more time than some of the other players that we talk about. Also, you got Gus the Bus Edwards coming back. They brought in Mike Davis as a depth piece also. The offensive line's still relatively good.
Mm-hmm. Still well coached. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
The one guy you're not mentioning here, and I don't think he's going to have much of a fantasy impact, but he's my dude, and I just love this guy. Is Devin Duvernay? I think is going to. I think they really like this guy. He was a first-team All-Pro punt returner last season. I think he's going to get some opportunity in this offense, and he's probably the last player from the University of Texas that I gave a shit about. So I'm looking for Duvernay to maybe make a little bit of noise as a third option in this offense, maybe fourth. But one thing I do want to highlight, and I know we're running low on time here, but I do want to highlight the this draft class was fucking immaculate.
Oh yeah, for sure. Kyle Hamilton coming in, the number one graded PFF safety coming out of college. I don't know how so many teams missed out on him, and he drops into the lap of the fucking Baltimore Ravens. Could we see the next Ed Reed here? Answer me. We gonna see that?
I'm wearing the Ed Reed right now. I don't think we'll see the next Ed Reed, but I think we're about to see the hell out of the first Kyle Hamilton. I'm just saying he's coming.
Fucking right.
The kid is talented. Right.
Fucking right, and I fucking totally agree with that. I think a lot of teams missed out on him.
Yeah, well, what about that second pick? Because I know you're all about them corn-fed Iowa boys. Talk to me about him, Travis.
Tyler Lindenbaum is a fucking monster in the trenches.
Monster.
He's gonna fucking just bulldoze and push his way through. He's gonna open up holes for this offense. You know, we talk about J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and even Lamar Jackson. He's gonna create holes for this offense, and he's gonna hold defenders. You know, defensive tackles. He is that big. He's fucking big boy. We Iowa corn-fed boys are big fucking boys, and we will hold our own.
I wanted Dallas to draft this guy, and Sumner was with me at the draft in Minnesota, and it was like the rug was pulled out from under me because everybody was asking me, who do you want? I was like, Linderbaum. Got to get Tyler Linderbaum right here, Tyler Linderbaum, right? And then I swear the announcer like froze in time for a second. The Dallas Cowboys draft Tyler Smith. What? Like it was the worst. Tyler Linderbaum, I got to tell you, every time when I start watching college highlights, college versus videos, right, I never get excited when I see a center, right? Nobody. Tyler Linderbaum had the most exciting fucking footage of this draft class, besides maybe Jamison Williams.
That was probably the funniest shit ever at the draft. That was probably the funniest shit ever at the draft. It looked like someone just fucking took their hand into your heart, ripped out, showed it to you, and fucking put it back.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So, okay. So, and then who else did they get in that draft?
I mean, I'm not. David Ojobo, they got the edge, and he was a first-round graded player they got in the second round. Yeah, I mean, it was a good pickup by them, the big boy out of Georgia. So, I mean, we can see what that can do. This defense should be healthier and revamped than it was last year. That's kind of something I've talked at length about, you know, in different articles and stuff, you know, and I feel like they can probably turn it around as well, just as much as this offense can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I really like the Ravens this year. I really think they'll have a strong rebound season, and I'm excited to see Lamar Jackson get back in the fold. So yeah, man. I think we're up on our time for this evening, but you know, let us know in the comments and everything who you think's going to run away with this AFC North, and you know what you think some of these teams are going to do. Other than that, man, thanks to all of our Patreons, thanks to our supporters, and if you made it this far in the video and you haven't rang that damn bell, I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, we love you, babies and boo things, as always.
Stay true.